English. A language used worldwide, composed of thousands of letters, words, and phrases. It is also considered one of the most complicated languages to learn and perfect. Among hundreds of punctuations and abbreviations lies a diamond in the rough, a symbol so commonly used in modern literature, yet so overlooked and taken for granted. I'm speaking, of course, of the ampersand. What makes this little character so interesting? Where does it come from? These questions and more is what I hope to find in this episode of Looking More Closely at Things We Often Overlook. Let's get started. First, we answer the question of from where did the ampersand come? The ampersand is actually a variation of the Latin word et, for and or with. It started out as a ligature in Roman cursive in the 1st century AD. As generations passed, the Roman cursive symbol evolved to become more fluid and natural looking, and later almost unrecognizable to its predecessors. Even so, no matter how the ampersand had changed, it was still used to link ideas in a sentence or train of thought. During the Renaissance, the ampersand gained popularity due to the invention of printing and became more commonly used around the world since many cultures had ties to the Roman features. We will now be going over a brief demonstration on how to write the ampersand. So we know that the ampersand came from a cursive style of writing. So it's going to be very free-flowing and in a pretty single motion. And I like to think that it bears a very similar resemblance to a cursive capital S. The lines are very similar, and although they're not exactly the same, the movement, the motion, they are very, very similar. So what we're going to be doing is taking our marker, putting it at a point. Then what we're going to be doing is just drawing a slanted line up. We'll go to about there. Alright, I know I said it was going to be free-flowing and one motion, but for tutorial purposes, I'm going to be doing it in steps. So from here, you have your line going up, right? So then what you're going to do is take your marker again, and from the last point you did, make a large, not large, but a pretty defined arc. You're going to come about, not halfway, but almost halfway to your line. So then you have your two first steps. First step was making the slanted line going up. Second step was making the curve around and intersecting it almost halfway through the first line. So next what you're going to be doing for your third line is, again, from where you last finished, you're going to just be taking it back around. This arc is going to be a little bit bigger than your first one. You're just going to not stop at the line, but go right through. That is a pretty basic, basically drawn ampersand. Some other ways of writing the ampersand are very similar, but you can also do them very, very similarly, but almost in reverse, exactly in reverse from the first way we did. So you're just going to come up. Basically, you're just going to make a large hook coming up, around, and then back down. Some people like that method better. I personally like the first method, but you know, it's all opinion. It's all preference, you know. So that is how an ampersand is drawn. comes from and how to write it, when do we use it, how do we use it. There are very specific rules and guidelines to remember when using the ampersand. First rule is it is acceptable to use an ampersand when writing company names. So for instance, father and son shipping, it is okay to use an ampersand in place of the and. Second, it is okay to use the ampersand for shorthand or abbreviation. That would mean if you're taking notes in class or you're jotting down something really quick, it is okay to replace the word and with an ampersand. Last, it is okay to use an ampersand for artistic effect in, say, logos, like a sports team, a company, anything that would be used for like artistic kind of like feel. And there's one specific time where you should not use an ampersand. Ampersands are not okay to use when you are, say, writing an essay in class for college, or like writing recommendations. It is not okay to replace the conjunction and with the ampersand. Well, that's all that I have for you today. I'd like to thank you for watching this episode of Looking More Closely at Things Often Overlooked. I'm Sam Mitchell, your host. See you next time.